Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm just checking Venmo to make sure I have everyone noted. Ooh, there's another. See? Good thing I checked. Add everyone to the list. Try to stay organized, though that's not my strong suit, LOL. Okay, Marlena. Classy and glassy. All right, at least I'll know where I left off. And I can always come back to the list. Make sure there isn't anyone I missed on PayPal. Activity. See, I knew. Okay. Hi everyone, good morning. Excuse me, I'm so excited. Let's go ahead and get started with a spirit evocation first, and then we will start with the readings. And if you want, you could drop your readings, instead of putting them in the comments, use the little question box, the little question feature. It's like right there. It looks like a word bubble with a question mark in it. If you click that, you can enter in your question for folks who have already donated. If you haven't yet, you can check the links in my bio for Venmo, which is preferred, but if you're international or you don't have Venmo, what is happening with my banks today? If you don't have Venmo, you can do PayPal as well. So if you're here, I want to invite you now to relax into your seat. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And together, let's take 3 big deep breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths. Good. Keep taking those big, deep breaths with me as I call in the spirits. From the east, who connects us to our mental acuity, I call upon the element of air and the good medicine, blessings, and protections that come from the east. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the east. From the south, who connects us to our passion, creativity, sensuality, and sexuality, I call upon the element of fire and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the south. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the south. From the west, who connects us to our emotions, the dream world, the dead, and fluidity, I call upon the element of water and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the West. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the West. From the North, who connects us to our physicality, the material world, resources, and cultivation. I call upon the element of earth and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the North. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the North. From above, we draw down the golden light of Creator, down from the heavens into our crowns, moving down through our bodies, plunging into the soil, and connecting deep into the center of this good earth. We welcome this golden light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, Creator, for your great dreaming and for our lives. From below, we draw up the silvery center of this good earth, up through the soil, into our bodies, moving up through our crowns, stretching high into the heavens. We welcome this silver light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, great above and great below. From the center, we rest our hands on our hearts. We breathe deeply into our bellies. And we listen to the seventh direction within us. We thank ourselves for rising this morning, for meeting this day, its challenges, and its blessings. Benevolent spirits of the cosmos, our Father Sun, our Grandmother Moon, our good Mother Earth, ascended ancestors, wise and well, good spirits, guardians, gods and guides who surround, support, and uplift all of us gathered here this morning. We thank you for being with us now. We thank you for your blessings and your protections, now and always. We thank you for your wisdom, guidance, and truth especially in matters of the heart, through both the shadows and the light. We thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this moment. And we thank all the versions of ourselves, past, present, future, and beyond, for aligning here now. May our hearts be open, and may we be ever present to receive. Ooh, I can feel everyone. I can feel everyone. This is a very busy room, and I am very excited to get started. Let me just refresh one more time. Make sure I'm looking at an updated list. Okay. Let's get started. Before I get to the question, for those of you who just joined us, if you've sent a donation via Venmo or PayPal, you can use the question feature right here to drop your question. It's a lot easier for me to keep track that way, so I appreciate you doing that. Thank you, thank you. If you would like a reading and you haven't donated, you can find the links to my Venmo and my PayPal in my bio right now. They're at the top. I made it easy. Let's pull one card for everyone before we get to it. From this deck? Yes. Okay. We're pulling from Offerings Oracle. Which matches my outfit. Cut the deck, okay. I love this card. I pulled Understanding. And what I think is very sweet about this particular card for today's readings is that it's the only card in the entire deck that features a literal heart right in the middle. But the message of understanding is that so often we only have access to the perspective of our own experience, or perhaps we've received input from a few other people. But at the end of the day, when the understanding card arrives, it means that we don't have the whole picture. And you know, sometimes we never will. Sometimes we never will, especially when we spend a lot of time guessing. This is so weird. Y'all, this is so weird. This deck, this Offerings Oracle deck, is my personal one. And I was using it for a reading the other day, and I realized there were 2 silence cards in this deck, which is very strange. And then just now, I flipped over the bottom of the deck to see what's on the bottom, and it's Libations, and there's 2. What does that mean? What does that mean? Anyway, back to understanding. When you don't know, you can drive yourself crazy guessing. You can spend so much time coming up with theories, connecting patterns, inputting narratives, because our brains are so imaginative and creative. But if you really want to know something, you need to ask the person that's involved. That's the only way to really know. And trust that your intuition is going to give you, is going to tell you whether or not that person is being honest with you. This is kind of interesting. I'm just curious what I wrote because I don't remember what I wrote in the book. Compassion is key when this card is pulled. Your good spirits are asking you to find the desire and will to understand a situation, story, or relationship better. To be empathetic because it is likely we are only aware of a partial truth. This may be about situations amongst the living or amongst the spirits. Your good spirits may also be calling you to understand yourself better, which can be a great way. A great way to do this is by getting to know your spirits better. Which of your spirits is coming forward now? And what stories do they desire to share with you? When the good spirits speak of their own experiences, there's always wisdom for us to relate to and to receive. I like that. Relationships aren't always simple. Even healthy ones aren't always simple because life is complicated. Life is hard. And if you're somebody who's interested in long-term relationships, whether it's with one person or a few people, you're going to experience a lot of ups and downs and different versions, rebirths of one another together. And life is so hard right now, and it's important that we are exercising a bit of compassion towards ourselves and to the people that we desire to be in communion, in relationship with. I don't know, it's giving encouraging us to use the benefit of the doubt and our communication skills rather than inference as often as we possibly can. Okay, cool. Let's start. I'm going to actually start with the people who aren't here, who sent their questions ahead of time. So if you're rewatching this at a later time, you can see it. And the first is Samantha. Okay, so Samantha's asking, what is the story of our relationship through past lifetimes? This is a fun one. Is this the right deck? No? Okay. The blue one. Okay. All right, Samantha. You know what's interesting is that I don't know that I necessarily believe in past lives because time is not linear. I believe in alternate lives, alternate selves. Because what's the past really if time is a spiral? That's another story for another day. Cut the deck. Okay. Pull 4 cards. Okay. What could it be? I really want to get one of those situations where I have an overhead camera and the front-facing camera. If anyone is smart with things like that, you DM me. Are we reading reversals? No. Okay, not to be dramatic, Samantha, but this is a tale of forbidden love. Amor prohibido. This is a story of forbidden love in your past or alternate lifetime. It's kind of like, again, not to be dramatic, giving me like Romeo and Juliet kind of vibes. Not quite. More like what the one trope where like somebody is affluent and the other person is like, you know, from the streets and has life experience and has had it tough, and there's this like coming together in the moment and you're like, oh my gosh, from this moment. That's the vibe that I'm getting. I'm also sensing that there was quite a bit of, I guess the word I'm looking for is, the first word that came to mind was violence, but I don't think that's the right word. I think there was a lot of conflict is the correct word. There was a lot of conflict, and not so much from the people around you, because it does feel like it was secret from one another. One of those relationships, while there is passion and intrigue, there's a lot of like hot-headedness, butting heads, not seeing eye to eye. And I think a big part of that comes from having completely different perspectives about the world around each of you based on your upbringing and experience. And it certainly seems like the passion did not outweigh the problems. And I mean, raise your hand if you haven't found yourself in a situation that's kind of, you know, passionate but toxic. That's the vibe that I'm getting. The connection was sincere. The interest was sincere. It's definitely like fiery, but y'all just weren't able to make it happen in a way that was stable. Sustainable is the word I'm looking for. Sustainable. We couldn't get past our the Spirit said, your innate need to argue. You could not get past your innate need to argue. Both of you needed to be right. And in situations like that, nobody's right, but everybody's feelings are hurt. It certainly seems like this has been an opportunity for you to try again. Though your guides are like, I don't know. This lifetime is your opportunity to try to make it work differently. So if you're finding that some of those patterns are repeating themselves in your present version of this relationship, it's time to sit down and ask yourself, okay, what are some things that we can do in order to have better communication? What are some things that we can do to offer compassion to one another? What are some things that we can do to help one another see have empathy and understanding for the other person's needs and perspective? Guessing games are not good for you two. It only leads to further frustrations. And then this is also an opportunity for you to sit back and wonder, like, are we trying to keep making the same thing happen when it's just not meant to happen? There's no right or wrong answer here, but there's the way each one of you decides to rise to this occasion. In this moment of, can we step up and step outside of our comfort zones to communicate with one another in ways that are healthier? Or can we not? And if not, then what? Loved this. Thank you, Samantha. If you are just joining and you would like a reading, you can find the links to my Venmo and PayPal in my bio. And you can send a donation, and please be sure to include your IG handle in the notes. Okay. And then once you make your donation, use the little question button right there to drop your question. All right, let's see who's next. I think there's one more person who couldn't tune in. So let me ask that. Dipped in gold. How do I know when to let go? If you have to ask, you already know. And the question isn't so much, how do I know when to let go? But how can I encourage myself to make choices that are in alignment for what I deserve and for what I desire? It's not so much about when to let go. It's about recognizing, no matter how you feel for the other person or persons, if we're unable to work through the conflicts that we have at hand, isn't it best to let one another go and to try to become the people we desire to be separately and give ourselves the opportunity to find more aligned relationships apart from one another? I'm going to pull some cards just to see. Is this the right deck? Yes. Okay. We are obsessed with this deck today. Do I shuffle again? Cut the deck. Okay. How will I know if he really loves me? I say a prayer with every heartbeat. I fall in love Ah. Okay, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Sometimes the struggle in releasing a relationship that we know just isn't right for us doesn't necessarily come from our affection for the other person, but from the fear that I may never have the opportunity to be happy again. What if this is the best that I can do? And listen, it's rough out there. Like, my dating friends relay information to me all the time about what dating life is like these days, and it's different. But it certainly seems in this particular case that our struggle isn't so much with whether or not this person is right for us or this relationship the way it exists currently is right for us. It's the fear of not having another opportunity to be loved by someone. It's the fear of not having another opportunity to create a life with someone. But what is a life built on distrust? What is a life built on resentment and dissatisfaction? I would rather build a joyful life with people who love me, even if it's not romantically, than pour all of myself into trying to make someone the right match for me who just can't do it. For whatever reason, can't be that person. This bang is just gonna make me crazy. It's fine. I think also there's this feeling of, was this a waste of my time? Was this a waste of my life? And if I walk away, I will never get those years back, which is true, you won't. But it's certainly not a waste of time because you've learned so much about yourself and about your needs, your desires, your capacity through this time in relationship with whatever the current situation is. I don't know if it's one person or a few people. So nothing we've experienced has been in vain. It helps to support you in making decisions about romantic relationships in the future that you otherwise would not have been able to make before. Reminding yourself of this is going to be really helpful when it comes time to finally make your decision. I think what's also nice is, this is interesting. Your guides are really encouraging you to spend some time cleansing your throat area, your neck area. I kind of feel like some saltwater gargling might help. So I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know what's going on physically there, but it does feel like it is spiritually connected to you being able to speak up for yourself, which is interesting because I'm also getting the vibe that like you are a very public person, and being seen, witnessed, heard outside of romantic relationship isn't so much a challenge, but within it, we like become small. And this is part of the lesson in kind of like growing up is the vibe that I'm getting. And I mean, growing up doesn't happen at 18. Is that your challenge, not challenge, but opportunity for growth comes from learning how to use your voice to communicate your needs to others without convincing yourself that you're a burden all of the time first. Which I think is something a lot of folks have in common. Like, oh, if I express this need, which is usually a pretty normal need, nothing over the top, I will be a burden to someone else. But when we seek long-term partnership, if that's what you're into, or even in short-term partnership, we need to be overly communicative about the things that are okay and aren't okay, and be receptive to that same information coming from our partner or partners. So this is your homework, like doing some cleansing work around your throat, around your neck, and also take this however you wish for it to be received. But it's okay to desire earth realm support from a partner. Your current partner may or may not be somebody who can do that for you, but it's okay to want like the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles. It's okay to want both. It's okay to recognize, like, I need more help in this lifetime than I need more support in this lifetime, whether it's financial, housing, other resources in this lifetime than I'm able to provide myself. And I think it would be really cool if I had a partner who was supportive of me, not only emotionally, but also when it comes to access to resource. Like, it's okay to say those things out loud to your spirits. Nobody's judging you at your altar. So be honest about what it is that you want and you need, not only with your partners, but with your guides too. I think sometimes we can be afraid to speak what it is we truly desire to our good spirits, and we only hold ourselves back. Now, do we necessarily get all of the things on our list? Not always. That's okay. But our guides do our best to get us real close. So, okay, let's see. Who's next? Now I'm going to go through... the questions box. I want to know. Hi, everyone. If you're just joining, you can... Hi, Nicole. You can... and if you're just joining and you just want to hang out, please hang out. If you would like to receive a reading, we're doing it by donation today. You can find the links to Venmo and PayPal in my bio. Just be sure to please leave your IG handle in the notes with your payment. And then you can go ahead and drop your question right here in the little question box, because it's easier for me to keep track that way. Okay, Maya. I wanna know if he really loves me. I say a prayer. Oh, I love this. See, this is an excellent feature. Ah! I have not been able to let go of this one man for years. Why do I feel so attached to him? They're already telling me so many things. Should I talk or should I pull the cards? You can pull the cards. These are yes. Cut back. Okay. Am I reading reversals? No. I definitely... There's a few different things coming through right now. And the first thing I want to address is that our grief is not linear. Whether it is grief over the death of someone or grief over the loss of a relationship, be it romantic, platonic, what have you. It feels like you are still carrying quite a lot of grief. And it feels like your grief rests right here. And there are some days where it feels like, like a weight, like pushing down into your rib cage, and it hurts. It hurts. I was just talking to my kids yesterday because we were listening to the Rent soundtrack because they're really into Broadway musicals. And I'm like, explaining the lore behind each song. And I was talking to them about heartache and heartbreak. And I was like, it's crazy. Like, there are some relationships where when it ends and you experience heartbreak, like, it literally hurts. It is physical pain. pain. And I'm definitely sensing that kind of grief coming through with this relationship. The next thing that I'm noticing is you guys are building future plans together. Y'all had invested in dreaming about the future, whether it's in big ways or small ways, whether it's trips or formal unions or what have you. There were some promises for the future made that remain out there in the others, unfulfilled. And finally, you really came of age within this relationship. You transitioned from still kind of being a kid to, not that you were a literal child, we're not saying that, but even, when we're 18, 19, 25, 25, we're still kids. We still act like kids. Our frontal lobes are not fully developed. But the vibe that I'm getting is that you really transitioned from being a kid to being an adult throughout the course and the conclusion of this relationship. And so not only was it a monumental romantic experience in your life, but it's also tied to a rite of passage for just who you are, which of course is going to give you a sort of attachment and nostalgia to this person, because we associate us growing up, whether we were conscious of it or not, we associate ourselves growing up with our time with this person. And I want to say, first of all, in specific to that, is that how do they want me to say that? Your guys are saying you don't owe your growth to this person. So I think that's one thing. I think part of you gives this ex a little bit too much credit. And sometimes the way they live in our memories is a lot more romanticized than what it actually was when we were in the moment there with them. And so it can create this longing for somebody who doesn't really exist. And who certainly, even if they were like that at one point, they don't exist in that same way now. Some things that I want you to consider. First, I think a baño blanco for your grief would be really helpful. And if you email me, I can give you instructions for how to do a baño blanco. You might already have the soap, I don't remember, but I think taking the actual bath will be better. And while you are doing that bath, I want you to uproot any psychic or spiritual cords that attach you to this particular ex. I feel two right here, and right here. And I also feel one right here. Ooh, right here on the right side of your head, which is interesting. I don't know what goes on this side of our head during our development into adulthood, but I feel there's some sort of biological connection there that I am not qualified to make assumptions about, but that's the vibe that I'm getting. I want you to see yourself uprooting these cords while you are in the bath and removing them, removing the connection that you have to this person. And I also want to encourage you to, whether it's through sympathetic magic or through trance visualization, I want you to, or through prayer and command, I encourage you to destroy, break any of the contracts, any of the promises that you verbally or in writing made to one another that are still standing out there unfulfilled. Whatever those future plans that y'all made together that are still hanging out in the abyss, wondering hey, when are we going to get to this? You need to let them know that they are null and void. And I think you're in Moon Shadows. I would look up the love vows and the afterlife workshop. I'm actually thinking about hosting it for the community outside of Moon Shadows again. So stay tuned for that. The sooner that you uproot these cords, the better it will be for you, TBH, because I think this person still kind of has this like psychic knowing. You know, like there's some exes that you're like, how do you know when I'm happy? Just to ruin it? Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. So I would make sure to remove those cords when you take the bath. And then when you're talking to your spirits, when you're at your altar, ask them to help you in breaking any outstanding contracts for the future that you have with this person. And then last but not least, sometimes I wonder if there are certain relationships that we kind of grieve at varying degrees forever. You know, like, I don't think I'll ever be over the death of my dad, and I don't know that I'll ever be over, like, my first real heartbreak. I've moved on, I'm happy, I've found love, and purpose, but I think a part of me will always have grief over that experience, and I don't know that it's wrong. You know, there's some days where that grief is an inaudible whisper in the distance, and there will be some days where that grief is at the forefront of your mind, just the same as when a person close to you passes away. And I don't know that loss of love is any different than loss of life, because that person just isn't in your life anymore, even if they're still walking this earth. So that's something to consider. My eyes are watering. I'm not crying. I'm usually crying, but this time I'm not. Hi everyone. Okay, let's see who's next. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Hello, Art Hag. That's funny. I'm just matching up with your donation. Bye, Jamisa. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. Why does PayPal always log me out? It's so annoying. Hello, Art Hag. I don't see a Venmo from you, unless maybe you forgot to put your IG handle in the notes. Let me know. Let me know. I'm gonna go on to the next one. And then I can come back to you. Okie dokie. Artichoke. You commented in the payment. Okay. I'm sure you're here. I'm sure you're here. One day, I'm gonna have an assistant to monitor this stuff for me. It's gonna be really cool. Speaking it into existence. All right. How do I get past the hurt from a breakup? It's been months. Oh, I feel like a lot of what came through for Maya is probably supportive for you, but let's also see what else is going on here. Cut the deck. Okay. Why is my eye watering? lot of what I'm going to share with you is similar to what I shared with Maya. I know it's annoying, but unfortunately, we don't get to decide when our grieving period, I don't want to say ends, but becomes manageable. We are at the mercy of our grief a lot of the time, and that doesn't mean that we can't do things to support ourselves through the grief. No, it's not too late. You can find the links in my bio. I encourage you, my dear, to be patient with yourself, to let yourself cry, to let yourself feel disappointed, to feel mad, to feel confused, to allow the full range of your grief over the ending of this particular relationship to do what it's got to do. Because when we try to force ourselves to just be okay, we're not okay. We become resentful. We start getting upset about other things that are unrelated, but our grief needs an outlet, so it starts coming out in ways that we don't feel super great about when it's over. I want you to let yourself feel the full range of emotion for however long you need to. And in the process, instead of asking yourself, like, when am I going to be over it? Ask yourself, what can I do to support myself in my current state of grief? What can I do in this moment to support myself in my current state of grief? Is it eating something that makes me really happy? Is it sitting outside at the park with the sun on my face, reading a book, listening to the birds? Is it grabbing coffee and going to the thrift store or TJ Maxx with my best friend? Is it binge watching one of my favorite shows and just being like a raccoon rotting in bed for today? Different days will bring different experiences of grief and will require different needs. And all you can do is show up for yourself in the moment, care for yourself in the moment, however it is that you need to. And then one day you wake up and you realize, I'm okay. I'm okay. But we don't get there by expecting ourselves to just suddenly be okay. We get there by being gentle and tender and compassionate toward ourselves. And whatever part of the roller coaster of post-relationship emotions we happen to be on. Let yourself cry, let yourself be mad, and when you find yourself in the face of these big feelings, ask yourself, what can I do today to make myself feel better? And there are some days where it's just going to be taking a shower. Washing my hair is going to make me feel better today. It doesn't always have to be a huge gesture. Making sure that I eat at least 3 times is going to be how I care for myself through my grief today. And that's enough. And it is in this process that being tender with yourself, compassionate towards yourself, mothering yourself, that you open yourself up for the opportunities to connect with people in a romantic way again. I also feel like this season of self-care, self-compassion, really like nursing yourself through your grief, nursing yourself through this breakup. You're going to discover a lot of really cool things about who you are that you didn't know before, that you weren't able to see about yourself within the context of that relationship. And you'll have these moments of like, oh, you know, I've been sad that that's over, but in this moment, I'm thankful it's over because I would have never known I liked this. I would have never known this about who I am if I were still within that partnership. So this really is an opportunity for you to make some cool self-discoveries about who you want to be in this world. Believe it or not, moving through this grief is going to offer you space to discover things about who you want to be in this world. And this is also an opportunity for you to learn how to mother yourself in this season of your life. to give yourself that compassionate care and nurturing that you deserve. Give it to yourself first. And that sets the standard for the relationships that come next. Ah, that was a good one. Thank you. Okay. Liz Finley, will you drop your question in the little question box right here? Because it's so much easier for me to keep track that way. Alyssa! Okay, let's see. Okay, Liz, you're up. I'm in a wild transition phase with my sensuality, romantic identity. Love that. Went through a really difficult breakup last summer. And this summer, I'm fully feeling the hot girl energy. Now there's a new man I met abroad, and we're interested. Any insights on this connection? Yeah, juicy. Love this. Let's get into it. Is this the right? You can absolutely watch this later. If you have to log out, I will post the replay. I'll post it here and probably on YouTube, so you can watch it wherever it feels good for you. Okay, is this the right deck? No. This one. All right, we're switching it up for you, Liz. Okay, cut the deck. Okay. They're showing me the spread that we're using. Let me move this deck over here. This is so much fun. All right. I'm going to start with the bottom of the deck, which is the Two of Cups, which is really nice. This is a nice little affirmation that, just making sure my candle's not out. This connection is sincere. The attraction is genuine. Very nice. And it doesn't feel like there are any consciously ulterior motives at play. With that said, when I'm looking at what connects you two, I see the Page of Swords. So there's definitely a lot of like flirty banter, chattiness. There's some like intellectual stimulation going on here, which is really nice. It's nice to be around somebody who you can talk to. Even if it's a little awkward at first, there's a lot of verbal communication that like stokes the flames, and I think that's really exciting that it's more than just a physical attraction. It's a very like cerebral attraction. When I look at you, I'm seeing the Hermit, and when I look at him, I see the Four of Swords. So we're both coming from like being kind of hidden, being in a place where we're not actively seeking partnership. We've been working on ourselves, taking a little break. I will say that with the Hermit, there's still an awareness of the world around us. Though we might be taking some time for ourselves, we are not forgetting that the world keeps turning. We're still paying attention to the way things are happening around us. We're conscious of how our choices have affected others, will affect others. We're conscious of the choices other people are making. There's a self-awareness, yes, but there's also an awareness of the world around us, which I think is important. We can't just be a total recluse and live in like ignorance, right? With the Four of Swords, it's like I'm fully checked out. I am fully checked out. And I think that sometimes that's going to be a little bit frustrating for you, because there are going to be moments where you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't know what's going on there? What do you mean that's what you think about this? And there's this pendulum that swings with that mental stimulation. On one side, it's like, da, 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 chatty, chatty, chatty. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. You're so witty. You ask me really interesting questions. I ask you really interesting questions. It's fun to like pick your brain and get to know each other. And then on the other side, it's like, fuck, that's annoying. I don't know if I like that. Like, you actually said too much to me and I wish you hadn't said that. Which, I mean, when we're dealing with he's, especially if they're cis he's, that comes with the territory quite often. And that's okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be a deal breaker. Let's keep digging in. When I look at what does connect you, I see the world. And although there are some thoughts and opinions that come up that you're like, I don't know about that, it does feel like there is this sincere desire to see the world around you develop into a place that is accommodating, comfortable, kind to all. And though your approaches to how this world comes about, how this next chapter of our world comes about may differ, you are united in your desire to see things be better. And when I look over here at what y'all are each bringing to the table, I have the Nine of Pentacles for you, which, like, you're hot. You're at a pretty stable place in your life. You're feeling pretty good about who you are in this world, what it is you're supposed to be doing, where it is you want to be, where you see yourself. When I look at him, I see the devil, which, I mean, at first sight, scary. But I think the devil invites us to explore the pleasurable parts of life that we might ordinarily feel shame around. The devil invites us to play in the shadows, to explore those desires and dreams that we may otherwise have kept hidden from ourselves, from the rest of the world. We weren't born in physical bodies to be puritanically pious. We were born in physical bodies so that we can experience pleasure in this lifetime. That is the gift of being human, of being an earthling. It's why in the Bible, like, the angels envied humankind because we had access to pleasure, the pleasure of smelling a flower, the pleasure of eating a nectarine in high summer and feeling the, like, sweet juices running down your face, the pleasure of feeling the sun on your skin, feeling the touch of another person. And while this person might challenge you in some ways, it's challenge you in some ways that are annoying. They also challenge you to explore some of those interests and intrigues that you've kept hidden away for so long. Which, like, have fun. Have fun. I think the biggest obstacle in this partnership is, like, yourselves. And not to one another, but, like, being in your own head too much. Which is funny because it feels like conversation is such a good, like, conversation works really well between y'all. You have a lot of open communication, but I do think there are also times where each of you is in your own head, hence, like, both coming from this place of, like, reclusion, and you're like, what if he thinks this? But in the meantime, he's like, oh, what if she thinks this? Or I'm certain she thinks that. And you're like, I know he's thinking this. When really you could just like look at each other and open your mouths and figure it out from, you know, the horse's mouth rather than making assumptions. So not making assumptions is the key to keeping this good for the two of you. Okay? Have fun, play, and also remember, the devil may invite us to explore some things that we are due to discover, but he doesn't tell us when we've had enough. And it is your responsibility to yourself to say like, okay, this is fun, but also I need to go see the sun now. I can't always be in the shadows. I need to be in the daylight too, right? Okay, that was a good one. Delicious. Alyssa. It might have been full, but try again, Alyssa, because now I've gone through some readings, so you might be able to drop your question. And if not, then when I call out your name, or email me your question so that I don't lose it, because I won't see it in the chat. It'll be gone forever. It will be gone forever. Okay, Sarah, we're doing love readings specifically today. So I think I will have like some reading days where I'm connecting with guides and ancestors, but today we're just doing love readings. And if you would like one, you can send a donation via PayPal or Venmo. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Okay. Soy Dreamer. What advice do my good guides have regarding how to move forward in my new connection with Kat? Is this the right deck? Yes. Yes. Cool. Big shuffle. Okay. Cut the deck. Okay. What am I doing? Am I reading reversals? No. Okay. Okay, it feels like, actually, I'm getting really good vibes from this connection. I'm getting really good vibes from this connection with Kat. The attraction to one another seems very sincere and pure of heart. I do see that right now you've got a lot on your plate. Like, yes, this is a good connection, like an aligned connection. Yes, this feels closer to what you've been wanting and needing than what you've had over the last, you know, we've been working together for a while. This feels more aligned. With that said, you have a lot of responsibilities right now. And the challenge is figuring out how to balance those responsibilities along with your desire to continue pursuing this partnership. And also there's the challenge of like, well, do I have capacity to show up for this person the way they deserve to receive love from me? I think you are capable, but do you have the capacity, the time, the space, given all that you are responsible to in this moment? And when it comes to those responsibilities, are there certain things that could be adjusted? Are there certain things that can change? And if they can't, it's important to ask yourself, like, okay, is this a matter of right person, wrong time? And do we need to take a step back, like cool our jets a little bit and figure our own shit out before we come back to one another? I do see that we're moving into a period of the moon, which tells me like things are going to keep getting more complicated, which sucks because I do see this as a very genuine connection. But unless both of you start to address that each of you has a lot weighing on you, right? Like you both have a lot of responsibilities right now. You both have a lot of people who, if not people, like there's a lot of stuff that depends on you showing up. And until you're able to sort through all that, I don't know that either one of you has the capacity to show up for each other in the ways that you genuinely want to. I do see there's like a lot of baggage. There's a lot of baggage. This isn't just overhead compartment. This is like checked baggage that's coming with this partnership. And I mean, such is life, such as being human, such as being not in our 20s anymore. With that said, like that doesn't disqualify either one of you from romance, from love. But I think it's important to consider, like, how does the past weigh into our ability to be present for one another in the ways that we want to? When I look at, like, what your spirits are feeling about this, I pull the Wheel of Fortune and TBH, so, like, it could go either way. It could go either way. And it feels like there's a lot of stuff around house and home that needs to be resolved in order for this connection to have the fighting chance to grow into something that feels rewarding to both of you, something that feels healthy and sustainable to both of you. Gosh, there was something else they just said and I lost it. Will it come back? Maybe. Maybe not. I think both of y'all need to figure out your responsibilities before you can decide whether or not you have the capacity to be present for one another in a relationship, the type of relationship that you hope to have with each other. And if it means like taking a step back and figuring stuff out, like that's okay. That's okay. It's actually very mature and responsible to do that. To like say, hey, I think I might love you, but I know that in order for us to have a fighting chance, I've got to resolve all these loose ends. And I want to be able to show up for you the way you deserve. So let me do that. You don't have to take this advice. Obviously, I am not your boss. But I do sense that trying to force it as we are right now will likely lead to a very messy ending rather than an exciting new beginning. So, do with that what you will. Okay. Who's next? Alyssa, I just got your email, so I'm going to do yours, Alyssa, so I don't forget. I've been going through a lot of turmoil via romantic relationships in my life, and after spending the last couple of years healing, I'm finally feeling open and ready to receive new love. Not just new, not just new, but the right love. Secure, calm, sensual, passionate, vitality enhancing sort of love. I feel this love coming closer, but I want to be sure I'm on the right track. When will this love journey begin with my life partner? Okay, let's look into it. Let's see what we've got here. Nice. Okay. So first things first, on the bottom of the deck, we once again have the Two of Cups, which tells me that you're absolutely correct and that you truly have done a good job of aligning yourself with the path to a person who is capable of loving you the right way. So before we even get into the other stuff, I want you to like take a moment and just offer yourself some appreciation, some self-appreciation for all of the effort you've put into nurturing, loving, caring for you. When I look at the person, I pulled the Two of Wands, and what I'm getting is that they are a salesperson. Somebody who sells things. I don't know what they sell. It could be real estate. It could be widgets. Like, I don't fucking know. But it definitely feels like a salesperson and somebody who has to deal with different coasts, deal with different time zones. Somebody who's very ambitious, very motivated to like get money, and not in a way that's like like little like the Four of Pentacles, like greedy king, the tiny king. It's more like it's exciting for them. It's like a game. It feels like a video game for them. They're like, no, it's so much fun. I do this and then I do this and then I do this and then I get money and it's fun. And I love that for them. We love when people are passionate about the things that they do. It's so fucking nice when we actually love the job that provides our like housing and food and resources. That's really neat. Love this. When I look at the circumstances, so this is where y'all are meeting. It definitely feels like this is somebody who's in like an outer network. This is like a friend of a friend of a colleague. Dipped in gold. I answered yours at the beginning, so when you watch the replay, it's like the first question. Okay, so this is like a friend of a friend, so this is a good time to go out. Like when people invite you places, say yes. Especially if it's with like, oh, their other group of friends that you don't necessarily know. Or if it's one of your work colleagues who's like wanting to get to know you better and it's like, hey, come out with me and, you know, my friends for a drink after work. And you're like, okay, I don't really know them, but sure. This definitely comes from when you are out and about and you ask for help. There's this moment where you ask for help. I don't know if it's like a meet cute at the market, like, can you help me reach this thing or what? But there's this moment where you are asking for help and it doesn't necessarily feel like a big way. It doesn't feel like, like a life important help. It feels cuter than that. It's not a dire situation. When I look at the potential for this connection, I pulled the Six of Cups. This is one of my favorite cards. I mean, they're all my favorite card. But I love the Six of Cups because it's very genuine. It's very sincere. It's very like, I just really like you for you. I just feel compelled to be around you because I think you're cool and I think you're nice. And when I'm near you, I feel happy and it's nice. And I want to do things that help you just because it makes me feel good to do things that help you because I like you. And like, that's wonderful. I love this. So The moral of the story is keep doing what you're doing because it's working. And say yes to opportunities to socialize beyond your current circle. Have fun. Okay. Who's next? Let's look at the question box. This is so fun. Okay. If you haven't already and you'd like a reading, you can send your donation via Venmo. Just be sure to please include your IG handle in the notes. I have hiccups. I have the hiccups. Why won't it show the notes on PayPal? This is annoying. If you can do Venmo, please do Venmo. Because I can't see any of the details on PayPal. Okay, let's see who's next. Lily, it's 11:11 to 1:11, whatever. It's a pay what you can situation. My meta may move in with us next year. Is this a good idea? I need to drink some water. Is this our deck? Yes, yes, okay. This is a fun question. Is this important? Yes. Yes, set it down. Cut the deck. Okay. Okay. Let's flip all the other cards over. I wish I had a better poker face when I'm flipping tarot cards. I have no... I'm just like a walking emoji. It's not like a bad idea or a good idea. It's a new... how do you want to say this? It's not bad or good. It's neutral. It's neutral. And this is an opportunity in your partnerships to continue to grow together. Now, honestly, like, this is an opportunity for big changes, like big growth. I pulled the Death card here, which tells me, like, this is a big step, it feels. This is a very big step in our evolution as not only individuals, but as people who work together within this multiple person partnership. So we are not only discovering things about ourselves in the process, but we are also like discovering who we are, not who we are in relationship to one another. We're discovering who we are in relationship to ourselves. And we are discovering like just how expansive love, be it romantic or non-romantic, can be. This feels kind of like growing up. It feels like growing up. And when we grow up, there are certainly growing pains. There are points of discomfort and annoyance and confusion. It feels like a lot of the discomforts and confusion come from like within our own head though. And again, it's that message that came through at the very beginning of readings today about how like you need to talk to the other people involved in your relationships in order to, excuse me, I burped, have a clear perspective rather than only listening to the voice in your head that's trying to like recognize patterns and project narratives. And like our brains are so creative, but sometimes that imagination runs away with us and starts developing whole like I don't know about you, but like I can create a whole story in my brain, like a feature film about situations and people, and I'm like, okay, that's just what's true. And like, no, you actually have to talk to other humans in your life in order to get like a clear idea of what's going on here. With that said, like the biggest advice that they have to offer you is the King of Swords, and this is all about compassionate and clear communication. Compassionate and clear communication. We are redefining and enforcing boundaries, communicating expectations and needs, and also recognizing that like the King of Swords, at least in my opinion, there's an element of fluidity there of like it's my way or the highway. It's very like, okay, let's try this because I think that feels right. Are we all in agreement here? Cool, let's give it a shot. Let's circle back in 6 weeks or in 6 months and decide whether or not this really is working, or if we should try a different approach, or if something comes up before then and it feels like we need to address it, let's like have conversations. Like radical communication is essential in this particular situation. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Sun, which tells me like, this is a really exciting opportunity, TBH. This is a really exciting opportunity for communion with other people, but also in getting to know who you are. Over here we have the Ten of Cups. This is the Happy Family card. And my favorite thing about queer love is that we continue to like dismantle and expand upon the conventional idea of what family looks like, what family should look like. And we find the beauty in the liminal spaces for ourselves and the people that we surround ourselves with. I will say again, like radical honesty, radical communication, almost exhaustive is like essential, because there is a lot of opportunity for hurt feelings, and TBH, like somebody's feelings are going to get hurt at some point, even with the best of intentions. That's just the way it is sometimes. And that's okay. But we need to work together to resolve those things. Like we can't just sweep under the rug. We have to address them when they come up. Because I think that, you know, in our current climate, there was this really like hyperfixation on policing one another. And when somebody does something wrong, like we like ostracize them. But I think true radical community involves conflict resolution, and resolving different conflicts is going to look in a different ways. You know, sometimes resolving a conflict means, hey, we do need space from one another. Sometimes resolving a conflict means like, oh, having conversations and figuring out other solutions. But this really is like an opportunity for y'all to exercise and experience like radical conflict resolution, because there's just so many personalities at play here, which is fun, but also challenging. This is going to be work. It's going to be work. But you know what? All relationships are. I would argue that like the healthiest of relationships involve plenty of work, because we want to be considerate and kind and compassionate to the other people in our life. And that takes effort. Listening takes effort. Paying attention takes effort. And that's not a bad thing. It's what makes our relationships sustainable, is being willing to put in effort and work. So, have fun. And don't be afraid to like speak up, speak your mind, and encourage the others to do the same. Okay, that was fun. Let's see. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Let's delete these old ones. Oops, I already did that one. Answered questions. Okay. Ashley's here. Hi, Ashley. Okay, as I am opening myself up to spend time with suitors and calling in prospects more and more, what are clear indications of green flags for me to continue a connection? That's a fun question. Is this the right deck? No. Okay. This one. Ooh, this one's fun because it has little pictures. I'm getting like someone who is attuned to their emotions and not afraid of them. Someone who is willing to experience and express their feelings in a healthy way. Right, because like we can be angry, but if we use our anger to hurt other people, that is expressing our emotions, but it's not in a healthy way. But if we see our anger and we allow ourselves to like cry, I don't know about you, but I'm a rage crier. That's fine. This is somebody who is in tune with their emotions and is able to express them in a healthy way. The next thing that I'm seeing is like attentiveness. Somebody who like pays attention to the vibe I'm getting is like, can tell when you're hungry, can tell when you need nap, like can tell when you need break. Somebody who, of course, is in tune enough with their own needs to be intuitive to the needs of others. Who isn't just so self-absorbed that they can't see that the person they're hanging out with might not be on the same page as them in the moment, or might have some other needs and requirements of them in the moment, and who doesn't feel burdened by that, but is like, okay, we can stop. No problem. Attentive to your needs, pays attention, learns about you, and not in like a creepy way, but like hangs out with you and notices like, oh, they said they like this thing. I'm going to be conscious and aware of that and bring it to them, or pay attention when that happens. They said they don't like this, or they've had this experience. I'm paying attention. I'm listening. I'm learning from that, and it helps me to show up in their lives in a better way. This is somebody who calls on the phone, not just text. Calls you. Picks up the phone and calls you. Wants to hear your voice. Wants you to hear their voice, because they don't want to ever feel like, there's somebody who's like, they might text other people, but when it comes to you, they want you to hear their tone. They want you to hear their emotion. They want you to hear their sincerity and that they're listening. Somebody who calls you on the phone. This is also somebody who what is this about? It feels like they're talking about a specific person, and it feels like one of their parents may have passed on already. This person only has one living parent, is the vibe that I'm getting. Okay, what else? They might be in the medical field in some sort of way. They are in the medical field in some way. I don't know if it's like holistic healing medical field, or if it's like Western medicine, but this is somebody who's in the business of healing, physical healing. A chiropractor, a doctor, a dentist. I'm not getting dentist. This is somebody that has to do with like body health. And then finally, they live by themselves is the last thing about them that your guides want you to know. They live by themselves. No roommates. Luxury. Let's see who's next. Charlotte's here. If y'all are just joining and you'd like a reading, you can send a donation via Venmo or PayPal. Venmo is preferred, PayPal's annoying. And then drop your question in the little question box down here, because if you leave it in the comments, I won't see it. It'll be gone. I haven't read any of the comments today. Okay, let's see what's next. How should I move forward with Nick? Does the tree bear fruit? Oh! This is the right deck. Okay, let's get into it. Does the tree bear fruit? Okay. What's that song? There's a song playing in my head. It's that Billy Joel song. I'm moving out. Burm, 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 burm. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I get a lot of my channeling through like pop culture messages, whether it's flashes of television and film or it's little blips of songs. I do see that we've put a lot of effort into making this happen, but I also, and there's this like desire to have, like, to be happy, to be emotionally fulfilled. And with that crossing you, it tells me that there's this fear. We kind of touched on this earlier. There's this fear that like, if it doesn't work out with this person, I don't know that it ever will. And that untruth holds us back from opportunities where we can be in relationship with someone who genuinely desires to show up for us in the same ways that we show up for them. When I look at the advice that your spirits are offering you, it's the 5 of Pentacles, and that's what made me hear like, I'm moving out. So it definitely feels like this is something that's worth your while to prune away from the tree. I don't necessarily see fruiting, I see pruning, and it is through pruning that we discover more aligned partnerships that serve all parties involved in the long run. Up ahead for you and Nick, I'm seeing a lot of hurt feelings. And when we're in situations where someone doesn't offer us the respect that we deserve, we can sometimes find ourselves becoming like the villain. And I can't tell you like how many femmes, like raise your hand if you've said, I wasn't crazy until I met you. You made me like this. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting right now. And like no judgment, like I've certainly been there more than once. But we kind of like become versions of ourselves that we don't even recognize anymore. And we're like, who is this? Like, what am I saying? What am I doing? And that's what I'm seeing if we continue to progress down this path with this person. And TBH, I feel like you already know that. I think you already know. And you've been feeling this. And sometimes we need to hear it from someone else. Whether it's our friend or a tarot reader or our guides or our mom. Sometimes we just need to hear what we already know from someone else. TBH, it feels like Nick has some, to quote Bridgerton, sowing of the oats to do. And I don't think any partner is going to stand in their way of doing it. And it's up to you to decide whether or not that's what you want and need from the person that you are in partnership with. Because maybe it doesn't matter to you. Maybe you're okay with that. And that's totally cool. But if you're not okay with it, it's time to like get your shit and go. Get your shit and go. And give yourself the opportunity to be with someone who makes you feel good about yourself, who gives you the space to like be the awesome person you always have known that you are, or maybe you've forgotten that you are. And remember that the time spent in this partnership, although it may not work out the way you hoped, wasn't in vain, because you've learned so much about yourself and what you need in partnership through this experience. And sometimes, you know, we've got to fall off the horse to gain that perspective that can only be seen from the ground. Let's see. Thank you, Lupita. That was a great question. I saw you, Katie. I saw yours come through. I see Katie, Soul, and Kimberly on the PayPal. But for some reason it won't show me your like IG info. Okay, let's see. Who's next? Okay. Evil Girl, that's such a cute screen name with the 3. I just got out of a relationship with someone that I thought was really meant to be and last forever, so I'm looking for any guidance for the situation. You got it. Is this right, deck? Yes, yes. Okay. Is my candle still going? Yes. I might have to put out a new red candle in a moment. Cheer up, evil girl. Life's okay. It's a beautiful day. Okay. What song is that? I remember that song from high school. Cheer up, emo kid, life's okay, it's a beautiful day. Throw off all your covers and get out of your mom's house. I think that's how it went. Was that a real song? That's gonna make me crazy. Cheer up, emo kid. I think that's how it went. By patent pending. They look like emo kids. I'm old. Okay. Oh. Okay, evil girl. Like, this is... Okay, I know that, like, your relationship just ended and it feels like the worst right now. It feels like the worst. With that said, what I'm seeing is that the conclusion of that relationship has opened up the world to you. That who you were in that relationship would not have had the capacity or the desire to discover all of the things that you are passionate about, that you are good at, that you enjoy doing if you had remained within it. And this door closing is really the fresh start that you've needed in order to find the happiness that you truly desire and deserve, and that getting that fulfillment at the end of the day wasn't actually possible within that partnership. When I look at what's crossing you right now, I see the Seven of Cups. So you definitely have like a lot of... When our worlds open up and this new chapter begins and we have this opportunity to discover new things, it can feel kind of like overwhelming. Like, too many options. Like if I go to a restaurant and there's too many things on the menu, I freak out and I close it. If I go to a website and there's too many items listed, I freak out and I close it and I just won't do anything. I just don't need anything. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting right now. This feeling of paralysis because there's too many choices in front of you and you're not even sure what all of the choices are. I want you to start with some grounding. Like, I'm giving you some spiritual remediation for this. I encourage you to begin building a spiritual praxis of grounding regularly. And that could be grounding through visualizations. That could be grounding by going outside and sitting on the earth. That could be grounding through tending to plants and gardening. Whatever connects you to that earth realm energy is really important and needs to be something that you can do every day. It needs to be something you can do every day, even if it's just for a few minutes each day, because it does feel like the earth is very much here to support you in this new chapter. I'm seeing lots of yellow, lots of blue. Those colors feel very supportive. Like yellow is the warmth of the sun, clarity, courage. Blue is the color of like clear skies. I'm hearing, now the song that I'm hearing is I Can See Clearly Now, the Rain Is Gone. And if you haven't listened to that song in a long time, you should put it on because it makes me cry. It's so good. I also want to encourage you, like, if there are things that you've been thinking about studying, whether it's formally through, institutions of higher learning, or if it's through self-study, it's a good time to start exploring those things a little bit more, reading more, practicing more, finding a hobby, pursuing that interest that you've been putting off, because I think sometimes, like, for some people, getting our hands dirty, keeping our hands busy is what helps us to process our grief, what helps us to process whatever emotions or confusions are coming up. And for you, like, hands-on seems to be important. I'm also I feel like this person might come back. And when they do, it will be up to you to decide if who you both are then aligns with what you desire in your life. Or you might find that, this person comes back around and you're like, wow, you've changed, I've changed, maybe this can be different this time. Or this person might come back around and you might realize, I've changed. I've been spending all of this time pursuing my passions, trying new things, experimenting and exploring. And now that I see you, I don't even recognize you. I don't even know who you are. And I know enough to know that, like, you're not who I need in my life right now. So, until they come back, spend time, like, having fun, playing, exploring, crafting, learning. That's how you pass the time, because there's a lot of self-discovery that comes in this process. And I think there's a lot of clarity that comes to you when you give yourself avenues of creativity to sit in. It's like that's your meditation, if that makes sense. That's your meditation, is doing things with your hands. Pottery class, knitting, shuffling cards, what have you. But that's where you start to gain clarity and insight about who you are and who you want and what you want to do next. Who's next? Okay. Just like to hear what the guides have to share with me today on romantic relationships. You got it. If I did this on Twitch instead of Instagram, would y'all come? I'll start doing this regularly. Just curious. The kids love Twitch. Who knows what's happening with Instagram? Maybe I could do it on YouTube. Am I reading reversals? No. Water. All right. YouTube. Okay. There are boys on Twitch? No. Oh. No. I just realized, like, there aren't a lot of readers on there, so I thought maybe that could be a good place. I don't fucking know. I'm old. I want to post on a MySpace bulletin board. Do you remember the notes feature on MySpace? And, like, we would do, like, surveys. And you try to put the most outrageous answers to the survey, and then your friend sees it, and they copy and paste it and do it with their answers. Those are the days. Okay, Classy Glassy. For you, I pulled the King of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Page of Pentacles. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Swords. When it comes to romantic relationships right now, your priority is your passion. You focusing on the things that are exciting to you, the things that, like, make you wake up and feel good, to, like, feel motivated to be alive. Like, I could wake up one more day for that. That gives me the motivation that I need to keep doing this earth thing for at least another 24 hours or more. That is essential for you. Not just primarily for, like, your personal state of being, your personal peace of mind and peace of spirit, but also there's something about you leaning into your passions that is supportive of your romantic relationships. And I think part of that comes from, like, when we get the opportunity and the space to do the things that make us happy, it's a little bit easier to be in communion with other humans because we have this thing that makes us feel good, that makes us excited, that we want to talk about, that we want to, like, info dump about, to anyone who is like happy to listen. So prioritizing your passions, the things that make you excited, very important right now for you personally and for you romantically. It does feel like things are a little bit like, it could go this way, it could go that way. And instead of fixating on which direction the wheel will turn, your spirits are really encouraging you to fixate on like what you can do for yourself. The only person you have control over is you. We can't control other people's actions or reactions or responses, but we can be accountable for ourselves and the choices that we make. And that is the most important thing for you right now, okay? Who's next? Okay. Amy Lisa Baum. Amy Lisa Baum. AI Melissa Baum. We got there. Okay. What do I need to do in order to find a new love in alignment to where I'm headed now in life? Okay. I like this question. What can I do for myself to align myself with the right kind of love? Is this the right deck? Yes. Cut the deck. Okay. So on the bottom of the deck, we have the Two of Cups, which tells me that you're kind of already doing it, which is nice to know, right? The things that you've been focusing on lately are supportive of what you desire, which is a love that is, it's Amy Lisa Baum. Okay. So the things that you are doing are supportive of you finding a relationship that is in alignment with who you're becoming, who you are, who you desire to be. Love that for you. When I look at what your guides want you to lean into, it's the Knight of Pentacles, which tells me that, how do they want me to say that? Got it. They're encouraging you to keep going on this journey of self-discovery. Keep focusing on like, who do I want to be in this world? How do I want to show up in this world? What do I want my legacy to be after I'm gone? After I am returned to the soil and my name is all but forgotten, what do I want to leave behind? What pathways am I paving for those who inherit the world after me? That is what your guides are encouraging you to focus on. When I look at what they're asking you to lean out of, I pulled the Eight of Pentacles. There's definitely something that you've been an apprentice of for plenty of time now, and it's time to start considering yourself more of an authority in that realm. I kind of feel like work is where you're going to find the person. So whether it's, you know, a friend of a coworker or a potential client, like it definitely feels like your job, the way you bring in income, is going to connect you to this relationship opportunity. The advice that I have for you is the Three of Cups and the Seven of Cups, which is telling you to be more social. Be more social. You know, you can have some discernment if your gut is saying like, don't go there. Like, you can listen to that, but when the opportunities come up for you to be social and you're feeling it, like, go do the thing. Like, put on some shoes and get out of the house and just see what's out there. Make some friends, make some memories at the very least, and make some romantic connections at best. Fun. Thank you, Amy. Okay, Pork Belly Neil. Y'all have the best. Everybody has such cool screen names. I'm having a hard time getting it through to my partner that I am so grateful to him and that I prioritize him. I feel like I do prioritize him and his needs, but he explains that at times I don't. What can I do? Okay, so how do we get on the same page? That's it, cut the deck. Okay. Where's my water? Okay. I think step 1 is the next time you talk to your partner, when everything's cool, you know, we're not in the midst of a fight or a disagreement, but we're just talking, take some time and say like, hey, this is something that you've expressed to me, and I want to understand what it is that you need from a partner in order to feel prioritized, in order to feel appreciated. Because, and that's it, like, period. Like, you don't need to add, because I do this and this and this and this, and it's not good enough. Even if that's the case. I'm on your side, Neil. But just end the question there. What is it that, and like, listen, really listen. And take into consideration the things that your partner is saying and whether or not you feel you have the capacity to show up in those ways. And I gotta be real, I feel like your partner's a little bit checked out. And I don't think it's about you in particular. I feel like they are overwhelmed with life, with the world around you, and they're kind of in a space where everything just feels like too much, and they're really struggling with caring for themselves, caring for their own needs. It feels like there's a lot of like familial resentment, whether it's resentment towards their family of origin or your family of origin. I'm definitely seeing that they are just like not present in the partnership right now. So even if you are showing up in ways that are the ways that they've asked for, they're not seeing it because they're like, checked out is the sound that I can hear. Checked out. And your guides are encouraging you to like take some time and consider like, okay, if I'm giving my all to this person and it's not enough, am I the support that they need right now? Is this the relationship that I need right now? Is this just a rough patch we're going through? Or is this a symptom of something bigger? And there aren't any right or wrong answers to those questions. And perhaps those are questions to be asked together. Because you both deserve to be happy. And it feels like your partner has a lot on their mind that they aren't sharing with you. There's a lot on their mind. I just feel like space cadet energy. Like they're just not here. Not here. And TBH, it feels like this is time for you to be really real with them and come to them from a non-combative way. Like from a compassionate and loving way and say like, I need to know what's going on. Because I think I'm showing up the way you're asking me. But it feels like there's something more. And if there is something more, I want to know. I want to know so that we can figure this out together. Whatever that means. It feels like it's time for a serious conversation. And I would pick like a space that feels neutral to have it. Like go to the park. Put together a little picnic. Make the vibes feel inviting so that it's more conducive to a difficult conversation, you know? Because it feels like there's a lot on their heart and mind, and their words to you are like displaced. The feelings that they're projecting onto you about not being cared for enough, it feels displaced. And this is the opportunity for you to say like, hey, what's going on? Like, I want to know more. And if they're not able to communicate with you, then that's like a whole different problem, you know? Okay. Who's next? Bruja Fairchild. What do my spirits want me to know regarding my love life, current and future? Okay, let's do it. One more big shuffle. Okay. Current, future, advice. Okay. There's definitely like a lot of nostalgia happening right now in the current for you, Bruja Fairchild. There's a lot of looking back at the way things have been, relationships that didn't work out. It has me thinking about, the other day I had lunch with my friends, and Charlotte mentioned something about how like in France, like we don't have like exes and situationships and ghosting and all this stuff. Like we have lovers and little love stories. And it feels like you are spending some time exploring all of the little love stories of time past. And I kind of feel like the astrological placements have something to do with it. I'm not an astrologer, so don't ask me about it. Ask Aliza Kelly, LOL, or Chris Corsini. But it does feel like there is a planetary influence that is causing this desire to reminisce and to dream and to romanticize. And it's fine. Just don't get too lost in the sauce, because you exist here right now. And the way we romanticize our past relationships, while it can be very comforting, can also be a little bit misleading sometimes. But at the same time, it can also serve as excellent inspiration for our artistic workings, our artistic endeavors. So if the nostalgia is coming up, like, take advantage of it. Like, what can you create from these feelings that are being evoked right now? It feels like it's resting right here. And I do feel like there's some sort of creative project that's coming from this influence. So like, ride that wave. When I look at the future, delicious. I have the Ace of Cups, juicy, fun, delightful, overwhelming, sensual, exciting, tantalizing, if you will. Enjoy. You enjoy that future. When I look at the advice that the spirits have for you, I have the Page of Swords, which I think really relates back to this like feeling of nostalgia and romanticizing our memories of lovers past. And like, what are you being called to communicate? What are you being called to share with the world from this influence? What are you being called to share with the pen and page or screen or canvas through this influence? Get it out, because you really are like an artist honest at heart, even if you don't necessarily see yourself that way, your spirits do see you that way. So now's a good time to explore with different mediums and like use this excellent source material as inspiration for your next great creation. Okay, that's fun, juicy. X's have been popping up, LOL, see? See what happens. Okay, for Kimmy, general, you got it. Why did I log out of my list? I'm trying to keep track of my list. Is this right, deck? Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, for you, we're going to look at, is this important? Yes. Okay. What are we releasing? What are we stepping into? And what advice the spirits have for you in regard to romantic connections? So many majors. So many majors. So on the bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Cups. And it does feel like some ideas of what we thought romance could be for us, we're starting to let go of. We're starting to release. And I think that's okay. I think, you know, there is some grief involved in letting go of what we thought was possible. And grieving is fine. We're allowed to grieve. We should do that. But there's also some excitement that comes with this new journey that you're moving on. When I look at what you're being called to release, or that really feels like you're already in the process of releasing, I have the Emperor, and this is control. You are being called to release control. Because as I mentioned earlier, the only thing we really have control over is ourselves, our choices. I do see your face right now, lol. Our decisions. And when we become more and more comfortable with that idea, it's kind of a fucking relief, to be honest. Frustrating at first, for sure. Depending on your, you know, birth chart placements, might be annoying. But there is this call to recognize that, like, I can only control me, and that's enough. Thank God for that, actually. Because it would be so much work to have to control everyone else, too. To be in control of the opportunities that come. Like, all I can do is wait for the waves and ride it out when they get here. When I look at what you're being called to lean into, I pulled Justice. And this is really about balance. And this, I think, is a journey that you've been on for some time now, because, I mean, this is a major card. This is no short season of you discovering the balance between the personal, the practical, the professional, and you are still very much within that process, and that's okay. We are still pruning things that we're realizing, that's not really working for me anymore. Experimenting with things that could be interesting, could be exciting. When I look at the advice that your spirits have for you, this card's been very popular today. I pulled the Six of Cups, which tells me, like, there's somebody you already know. Kind of like circling in your outer orbit. This doesn't feel like it's somebody who's super close to you. This is somebody that maybe you've met at a friend's house before. Somebody you've maybe like met in passing a couple times at different events or different jobs. And then suddenly you're like, I didn't realize there was something here. Has there always been something here? Was I not seeing it because I was so busy trying to control my ideas of what love and relationships should look like? So while you were paying attention to me, I didn't even notice you? Oh. The card that flew out of the deck while I was shuffling is the Queen of Wands. And I love this for you because, like, you give me Queen of Wands energy. Like, you are creative and magnetic and warm, and people just want to talk to you. They want to be around you. They want to be in your presence. And remembering that this is who you are is essential right now, and continuing to lean into that, continuing to lean into your creative projects and those things that you are passionate about right now, letting go of the things that you haven't been feeling so passionate about lately is essential, because doing that is going to bring you into the space where you get that meet cute again, that moment of like, you've always been around. So have fun. Okay, let's see. Pavanine thing. Love reading, please. Okay, general love reading. You got it. That's it, cut the deck. Okay. Okay, for you, we're also going to do what we're releasing, what you're being called to release, what you're being called to receive, and some advice. Ooh. When I look at what you're being called to release, oh my God, Bria, hey. You're always changing your screen name, but always to something cool. When I look at what you're being called to release, I have the Seven of Swords. And this is that, how do I say this? What I'm getting is there's this like call to like move on physically. There's this need to, okay, I'm gonna go into the story of the lore of the Seven of Swords. When we look here, we have somebody who's escaping these tents, and sometimes people say like, oh, this is like a soldier who's abandoning their post and they're stealing all of the equipment and taking it with them. It feels very much like it's time to move on to a new honestly, this feels like it's about work, but it's somehow connected to relationship, which is interesting to me. It feels like it might be time to like find a new opportunity, whether it's a different department or a different company. Because when I look at what you're being called to receive, I have the Ace of Pentacles, which is very much like new job, which is like scary. I'm not saying quit your job today, right now, immediately, but be open to the idea that there could be other opportunities that would serve you better, be it in greater access to resource, or honestly, I do think it's greater access to resource. I think that there is a job opportunity for you that's going to allow you the capacity to like set up home the way you desire it. There's a job opportunity that is going to grant you the capacity, the access to resource to set up a home the way you desire it, the way you deserve it. And it feels small and modest at first, but that's okay. We can make a studio. I was recently listening to Mushaboom by Feist, which I listened to a lot in high school and haven't heard since then. And there's this one line that made me cry. where she sings, I got a man to stick it out, make a home from a rented house. And like, that's the vibe I'm getting, like, make a home from a rented house. And I think that's so tender and sweet. And it feels like this next thing is going to give you that chance. Also, your spirits are saying, don't be afraid to embellish. So if you're sending out resumes or cover letters, embellish. There's always a friend somewhere who can answer the call for a reference if somebody needs to confirm it. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Empress. So again, it feels like creating new home, creating a greater connection to home, a more intimate connection to home, creating your temple is the priority of your guides right now, because it's in setting you up in that space that you are going to feel comfortable and confident to open yourself up to romantic connection. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Your job just announced layoffs, LOL. Well, no time greater than the present to find something else. Okay, Vibecaster. Just curious what wisdom comes forth. I think for you, we're going to do the same thing because I'm really feeling it. What we're releasing, what we're receiving, and some advice. Cut the deck. Okay. Oh, older road. Is the right cards? Yes. Yes. Okay. Water. Might have to take a bio break in a minute, friends. I've been drinking a lot of water. Okay, for you, Vibecaster, what I'm seeing the call to release is the Ace of Pentacles. Oh, interesting. It feels like your guides are encouraging you to be open to the idea of long distance connections. Like if you're on the apps, like set your location instead of to where you are to where you want to be. Anywhere in the world you want to be. Portugal, maybe? I don't know. That's what came through. Think about it. But consider opening up your physical horizons, your geographical horizons to people who like live in distant lands. Ireland, see? There you go. Okay, you know what else is interesting about Ireland? When I see what it is they're asking you to receive, or what you're being called to receive, or invited to receive, I have the Six of Cups. And tell me this isn't like giving like Irish country house. Like it's not as green as we would like it to be, right? But like you don't see these in California. You don't see houses like this in the States. No, this is countryside. This is like Blarney Stone. I kind of feel like you're supposed to plan another trip with a friend. Plan another trip with a friend. And then turn on the apps when you're there. Or just like turn on your receptiveness to romantic connections while you're there. Maybe there's going to be a meet cute over some Guinness. I don't know. But I do think that you're supposed to travel again. And it is your inherent magnetism. Your just like all of the things that make you weird and wonderful and enchanting, like that is going to draw the person in who is like, oh yes, like yes, like this person has different hair every day of the week, and they wear really cool clothes, and they have this just like magical thing about them, but they're also like a real person on the inside, and I just need to know more. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting. You leaning into being your authentic self is what draws this person in. But this certainly feels like this is, look, this card always reminds me of the Alchemist. Somebody to match your freak in Ireland. This card reminds me of the Alchemist, where we have to go, we're like, it's a whole story about going on a grand adventure and not really knowing what our destination is, but knowing that we are seeking some sort of treasure, and you're supposed to go on adventures. So make that your priority, because that's where you find the romantic connections that you desire and deserve. Just go on vacation, it's fine. What bills? Okay, general reading for Yasmin. That's it, cut the deck. Ooh, got a body chill from that. Sam, you're gonna be a dairy girl. I'm so jealous. Are these the right cards? Yes, okay. All right, Yasmin, when I'm looking at what you are in the process of releasing right now, and it is the Page of Wands, which is interesting. Yes, Communist Beyonce, LOL, love. Readings are by donation, 11 to 111. You can do it via Venmo or PayPal. The link is in my bio. Page of Wands is what you're in the process of releasing. And what you are in the process of receiving is the Queen of Wands, which tells me that we're releasing the idea that we are still a novice, that we still aren't sure about what it is that we desire and what it is we deserve. And I think that sometimes we can get in our own head and start thinking like, oh, I don't know, like that could be okay, this could be okay, I like it if you like it. And your guides are like, no, like we're growing up now. This certainly feels like a rite of passage for you. And you are in the process of growing into the embodied, the empowered, the inspired adult that has always been inside of you, but is ready to be here and realized now. You are a grown-up, and you want grown-up things, and you have grown-up needs, and aligning your romantic relationships with this idea is going to be really helpful for you. No more people with Peter Pan, you know, like we talk about it in LA all the time. I'm sure every major city has the Peter Pans, the people that just never want to grow up. Like, you're grown up, you are grown, and you love that about yourself. It's exciting. It feels good to know who you are in this world and to be noticed for knowing who you are in this world. And you need somebody who's going to match that energy. When I look at the advice that I have for you, it's the Six of Cups. This is our stalker card today, but it also makes sense that it's coming up a lot because we're focusing on love and relationships. But the Six of Cups is talking about Will you say that again, please? Got it. Okay. So yes, you are in this season of realizing that, like, I'm a grown-up now. I have grown-up needs, I have grown-up desires, I have grown-up expectations, and that's really cool. I think it's cool. The Six of Cups is encouraging you to kind of like pay homage. Now that you're the grown-up, you are capable. You have capacity to offer younger versions of yourself the healing and protection that they still need. There's this younger version of you who still feels like I wasn't protected. I wasn't protected. And now is a really good time to do some inner child healing work. Now that you're the grown-up, you can be the grown-up that child needed, that child inside of you needed. So whether you do that work through altar work or journaling or trance and meditation, I would prioritize that type of spiritual labor at this time because it does feel directly aligned with your connection, your ability to feel confident and comfortable in aligned romantic connections. Okay. If you have sent a donation, please drop your questions in the question box right here. It looks like a little word bubble with a question in it, because if you stick them in the chat, I'll like lose it. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. I just need to refill my water. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Who's next? Let's see. Marlena, you're next. Okay. I'm back. Okay, let me just light another red candle because my old one went out. It's good. Okay. I think I'm going to close donations for now just so that I can get to everyone we already have on the list. So I think I'm on Marlena. Okay. The present and future. Cut the deck. Okay. So when I look at where we're coming from, the past, the recent past, I see the Eight of Swords, which if you haven't already, check out on 12th House's Instagram. We just did a really cool photo shoot of the Eight of Swords. But there's definitely this feeling of stuck. This doesn't feel good. This isn't feeling right anymore. This isn't feeling aligned anymore. When I look at the present, it kind of makes sense because it's progressed into a state of I feel stuck, this doesn't feel right, into like conflict. There's definitely space for resentment to grow when these two partner up. When I look at the future, I see the Seven of Pentacles, which is telling me that there is some reorganization that needs to happen. Whether there's, you know, some pruning of the things that aren't working out anymore, consideration of what you do have and what's worth holding on to. It's time to like really rethink where we are right now and identify what's working, what's not working for me anymore. When I look at your advice, I have the Justice card, who's telling you that like you're the one that's got to be honest. You're the one that's got to make the calls because no one else is going to do it for you. We are going to stay contently discontent in this space until like you take up the mantle and decide what stays and what goes. So your challenge at this, not your challenge, but your call to action at this time is to sit and really look at like what feels good at this point, what doesn't feel good anymore, what am I holding on to that is misaligned at this point, and what do I need to do in order to change it? Because this is a theme that's been coming up all day. We only have control of ourselves. We can't control the actions or the choices of others. So what within your control can you do something about over the next month, it feels like, to make your love life more suitable to bear fruit, more suitable to bear fruit in ways that work for you, that make sense for you. When I look at the bottom of the deck, I see the Ten of Pentacles, which is telling me that though things may feel a little bit rocky, a little bit uncertain at this moment, it is in you taking the time to cut back what isn't working, pour more into what does feel good and aligned, that you give yourself that stable, solid, fertile soil to receive that sustainable type of partnership that you crave and you desire, that supportive type of partnership that you crave and you desire. Sometimes when we have to cut back on things, it doesn't feel good. It feels scary, but it also feels freeing. And when you're coming from this place, that freedom is a gift. Okay, who's next? Okay, would it be for Calmo Paz? Would it be beneficial for my healing to reach out to my first love and get some closure? This is a great question. I can't wait to see what the spirits have to say about it. Got the deck. Have to sneeze. I shuffled these cards. I shuffled them really well. But interestingly, we have the Seven of Pentacles, Justice, and the Three of Cups. And on the bottom of the deck, we have Temperance, which is really cute because when I read your screen name, this was the card that came to mind for me. Will it be beneficial for your healing? Maybe. Maybe. I think that it may offer you some insight. Okay. sometimes when we are reflecting on the past, we forget about the things the reasons why things didn't work out. And it's very likely that in reaching out to this person, you are going to remember those things from the past that were like, that didn't feel good, that didn't feel right. I don't know that it's going to offer you any sort of resolution, and it certainly doesn't seem like there will be a reconciliation, like, oh, we're meant to be together, let's try this again. I'm not getting that vibe at all. What I am getting is that in reaching out, you're only going to be more certain that that door closing was the correct thing for you. And perhaps it will make you feel a little bit more free. Free from the trap that sometimes nostalgia holds us in. Free from that feeling of, oh, what could have been? What could have been? What if things had been different? I think if you reach out to that person, you're going to realize it wouldn't have been different. And in fact, it's still the same. So if you want to put yourself through it, try it. Why not? But don't be surprised if things haven't changed. Okay. Junie. Single for the first time in years. What's your deck's advice on falling in love with myself? We're gonna switch decks to this one. To literally my deck. Is it these two, or do I shuffle? It's those two. Okay. I got the deck, and it's telling me the two that opened up on the bottom are the ones for you. And I have Devotion and Libations. First things first with libations. I encourage you to, if you don't already, begin building relationship with your ancestral spirits. Calling out to your ancestors wise and well, the ones who are well and able to provide support to you. And start, if you're beginning your ancestral veneration journey, I encourage you on my website, there's like a free ancestral veneration 101 guide. Start there. And if you've already started, if you already have a relationship with your ancestors, now's a good time to make sure the offerings are out there, they're flowing freely, that you're keeping up your time and attention at that altar, especially because the devotion card came up, and our relationships with our ancestors and our guides are dependent on how much we're willing to put into them. So this is a good reminder that it does take work to receive the blessings of the companionship and guidance and support that our good ancestors offer. The next thing that this devotion card is telling me is now's a really time to good time to get into crafts, hobbies. What are some things you've been thinking about trying out? Maybe it's needlepoint. Maybe it's taking a pottery class. Maybe it's joining a running club, but finding it might take a little experimentation before you figure out the thing that you want to do, but pouring yourself all into it is going to be really helpful when it comes to falling back in love with yourself. It's in finding that thing that you really enjoy doing that you come to appreciate yourself, your body, your spirit more and more. And that's the recipe. Also just pink flowers, gifting yourself pink flowers, pink roses is going to be supportive too. What time is it? Okay, I might have to ask my partner if he can pick up the baby. Do you think you... Okay. Sarita. Kim. So I'm actually closing off donations for now because okay, perfect. Already have a lot of folks waiting on readings, but I will start doing this more often because it's fun. Sarita, about to take off, so dropping my question. It's Leo season. How can we kick things up a notch? Which deck? This one. Okay. Okay, mom things are out of the way. Oh my gosh, a layover! She's our jet set girl. Mrs. Worldwide. That's it. Okay. Two cards. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, it's toasty in here. Okay. It's making me giggle. I pulled the Magician and I immediately heard the line from Red Wine Supernova. I heard you like magic. I got a wand and a rabbit. So it definitely feels like you're being encouraged to introduce perhaps some toys. A little playtime into the bedroom. And this is one of your guides. She's really funny. She's like, make him work. Make him work. So, like, you are the pillow princess. And I love that for you. Maybe go shopping for toys together. I think that would be fun. Why not? That could be really fun. Grab a few things. See what you can discover together. Don't forget your water-based lube. Oh, I dropped cards. Okay. Naconologues. Kate, I cleared my past cords a few weeks ago, and a few folks, including R and H, have come in and others out. I feel like a new person in love and life. I'm curious about any future predictions or preparations. Okay. I am so sorry, Sarita, that I told you to go to the pleasure chest while you were sitting at the airport. You know what? Duty free. Now's the time. Go shopping. Okay, for Naconologues, for Abe. Let's look at future predictions and preparations. Cute. Okay, so for future, I pulled the Magician and the King of Cups. And is this about a person? Ah, it's about you. It's about you. And they're saying, remembering that you have the altar, the tools, spirits, and the spirits who are on your side and helping you to cultivate the romantic partnerships you crave. I think that sometimes we go to the altar and we feel like, oh, I shouldn't ask no, I'm not taking any more right now, sorry. But we will do this again. So like and subscribe. Your good spirits want to remind you that they are on your side when it comes to cultivating aligned romantic relationships and opportunities, and that it is your spiritual softness and your emotional vulnerability that makes you so attractive. I think that's very sweet. Those aren't things that you need to hide. Those are things that are embraced by people who are in romantic alignment with you. And also it's a good reminder that like there's nothing you can't take to the altar. I think sometimes we get into this headspace of like, oh, I can't ask my spirits for that. I can't ask my spirits for that. And they're like, why not? That sounds fun. Let's try it. So this is a good reminder that like not only are the things that not only is your spiritual and emotional softness part of your appeal, but also that you have spirits who are supportive of helping you to find these types of connections. When it comes to preparation, I see the 8 of Wands and the 4 of Swords, which is funny because aren't these kind of like opposite? Like this is like go, 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 and this is like take a break. But when it comes to your passions, how do they want me to say this? Got it. Okay. When these connections do come up, it does feel like they move really quickly at first. I always joke like I fall in love with every person that I meet. Like it happens so fast for me. And that's the vibe that I'm getting from this card, is that like things kind of happen really fast. You meet someone and all of a sudden you're like, boom. Like, I'm in love. But the 4 of Swords is reminding you to, like, take a step back, take a deep breath, and take your time getting to know this other person. Even if the feelings come fast, the connection comes fast. The truth is that, like, we get gaga over a stranger, and then we get disappointed when certain things about them don't match what we've romanticized or made up in our heads. So this is a good reminder to, like, take a step back, take it easy, take it slow, and take your time getting to know these other people despite like your heart moving quickly. On the bottom of the deck also we have the 6 of Swords, and it does feel like there's some travel coming up. Okay. Zoana. Okay. Zoana's been contemplating divorce for a while now, voiced grievances to partner. Seems like he hasn't gotten any better. Will he continue to get better, or will it lead to the eventual divorce you see coming? Let's see what the cards say. All right, so Anna, when I'm looking at the situation right now, I have the Two of Wands. And TBH, it feels like you've kind of already moved on. It feels like you've already moved through the, but what am I gonna do? And into the, I can see what's next. I can see what more there is. I can see the things that I could be doing differently, better. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of fear or even a lot of grief. I think there's a wee bit of stress about like the support, whether it's like financial support or any other sort of support that you have been receiving through this relationship. There's a little bit of stress around that, and that's okay. But when I look at what happens if you continue to put in the work to keep this relationship, I have the Page of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. And what this is telling me is like regression, TBH. The Page of Cups is very childlike, childish even. And the Seven of Pentacles, if you look real close, this person is tired. They have been tending to this bush for so fucking long, and they are tired. They're tired. And when I look at what happens when and if you do decide to move forward from this relationship, we have the Knight of Wands, vitality, excitement, inspired. You see which directions you can go, and you are fearlessly stepping into these new spaces and new opportunities and new connections. You're realizing all these things that you didn't get to realize before because you were pouring so much of yourself into this bush right here. And I also see the Justice card, which means that you will have what you need. You will have everything that you need. It might take a little bit of time to readjust and figure out all the details, as all great transitions do. Even transitions that are for the better. It takes us a little while to get our, our land legs back. But I do see this as honoring the spirit within you. Honoring the needs that you know you have and that you know you are deserving of having fulfilled. So, the choice is yours. No sorries. Okay, let's see. Senarina, how do I go from anger, longing towards my ex to believing there's someone that wants to love and grow? Senarina, it feels like some magic would be really helpful for you. Like some ritual involving fire in particular. It feels like writing all those things down. For some reason I just got a flash of like Cat and 10 Things I Hate About You. I hate the way. So I do think it might be good to like sit down and like write all of those things that you're feeling, from anger to longing, resentment, nostalgia, loss, grief. Like write down all of those things. Get it out of your body by putting it down on paper, and then light it on fire. Light it on fire. And I want to encourage you to leave the ashes of that letter that you write at the crossroads with three silver coins, they're saying, for the good spirits to take it and travel along with it. Your guides are affirming you that the choice to uncouple was the correct one. You are leaving with wisdom and knowledge that you wouldn't have had if you had not experienced this relationship. And though there might be some resentment and longing still there, what's done is done. It's done. This is not the type of situation that we want to revisit by any means, because it truly is opening up the door to this new chapter in your life, this rebirth. I do think that and on the bottom of the deck we have the Chariot. We are only going forward. We are not looking back. So when Mercury retrograde comes around in August, what we're not going to do is respond to the text message. What we're not going to keep doing is looking at their social media from our Finsta account. We are blocking and moving forward. And I encourage you to do that ritual, because sympathetic magic is so powerful. And the spirits truly do want to assist you in moving forward. So let them help you. I know how I have been going for a long time. 12, 1, 2, 3 hours. I'm gonna try to get through all these. I need to be faster. I love to talk. Ethereal Oscura. I want to ask my guides about their insight and the energy of my current relationship. You got it. Do I shuffle again? Yes. Big shuffle or hand over hand? Hand over hand. Cut the deck. This reminds me of when I used to do readings at like festivals. Just like 8 hours of being out in the sun, reading cards for strangers. Are these the right cards? Yes. Okay. I'm going to show you what I got. And do with it what you will. do with it what you will. When I look at the insight from the spirits about this relationship, I pulled the 7 of Swords, and it does feel like both of y'all are bringing a lot of the past into the present. Everyone involved is bringing a lot of the past into the present, for better or for worser. And at times it can be worser. And I think that what started out as this really fun attraction, like certain things are starting to bubble up and we're like, what is this? What is this? What's this about? This isn't what I thought I signed up for. And that's okay. Like, people, it takes time to get to know someone, right? When I look at the energy of the current relationship, right? Because the insight of the spirits is like, we're all bringing a lot to the table from the past, and we got to decide what we're doing about that, because for better or for worse, it's influencing how we relate to one another. When I look at the energy of the relationship, I pulled the 10 of Swords. And look, I'm going to partner this with the advice card that I have here, which is Death. What these two cards together tell me is that y'all need to decide what it is that's coming to an end. Are we putting an end on the influence the past is having on what we have right now? Or are we putting an end to what we have right now because the influence of the past is too much for us to overcome? When death arrives, it presents you with a crossroads, with a choice. And unlike the Tower, which is just like, burp, clearing the way, whether you like it or not. No. Death's saying, what are you going to do about it? This is what's here. What are y'all going to do about it? So, the ending could be the relationship itself, or the ending can be releasing the hold that the influence of the past is having on you too. And it's up to you to decide. I am a Gemini. Ask me about being a Gemini. I love to talk about it. Okay. Carolina, I want to know more about Mario and I's love. Is there past or alternate life connection? I immediately heard yes, and it's cute. Yes, and it's cute. Cut the deck. I hear it's a sweet story. Oh my god. It is a sweet story. What I'm hearing is like it's a sweet story of lovers who discovered one another by the water. And I'm seeing like a riverbank. I'm seeing a riverbank, and I think that's extra special because the soil on the bank of the river is full of so much like nutrients. It's so fertile and potent for growth and sustaining life. I think it's really cute that this popped up. Followed by the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Wands. I don't really need the cards for this though, because the spirits are just telling me what happened. They're saying it was a very sweet and authentic love. Mario was a hard worker then, just as he is now. It brought him joy in his life to take care of you. To see you happy. To see you well fed. To see your needs met. They're saying it had a happy ending too. A long life, a long love, many births and rebirths. You changed so many times and grew up together. And here you are again, once more. I heard enjoy. That's sweet. That's very sweet. General predictive love reading. Yes. For Zoe. I have to remember to say everybody's screen names in case you're watching this back later. Otherwise it's like, who are they reading for right now? Cut the deck. Okay. What we're releasing, what we're receiving, what we can do to prepare. Yeah. When I look at what we're releasing, it's the Six of Pentacles, and what I'm getting is we're releasing the ones who take more than they can give. We're releasing those who overpromise and underdeliver perpetually. Who continue to prove themselves unworthy of your affections. We are receiving opportunity. A choice. We are at a crossroads where we decide if we are going to let that life be ours forever. The life of wanting, waiting, and waiting. or the life we are destined for. The life we deserve. The choice is yours. They said the choice is yours. When I look at what you can do about it, how you can prepare, I pulled the Knight of Pentacles, which is like, you got to keep doing you. You got to keep following your dreams. You have to continue to trust that what you desire, what you see for yourself in this world is not only possible, but you are worthy of receiving it, because you are. Because you wouldn't have those dreams and desires, those, divinely given dreams and desires, if you weren't. We are releasing those who continue to prove themselves wanting. And we are receiving the opportunity to make the choice, right? The spirits aren't going to make this choice for you. You have to do it for yourself. Okay. Who's next? We are still going. I'm determined to get through this list, because I won't be here next Friday, so I can't be like, tune in next Friday and I'll get to everyone. I do have to be at a art camp presentation for my oldest at 5 though, so I gotta wrap this up in 2 hours. Okay. Hi, Caitlin. This is from La Bruja de la Ciénaga. I used to work on La Ciénaga. Hi, Caitlin. Your spirits have been greatly helpful to me in the past. Good. Do they have any wisdom in regard to my own self? Okay, I'm still here. Like, don't disconnect now. All right. Wisdom for self-love for Bruja de la Ciénaga. Should I shuffle again? Cut the deck. Okay. Yes. Reversals? No. This is all majors. This is very important. This is a very important question. Oh my God. Huh. 4 majors. So when I look at what we are releasing, I pulled the Lovers. So it definitely feels like that big relationship, that big impactful love. It's got the energy of like first real love. And maybe they weren't like your first partner, but this was the first time you were like fully in it for the long haul, completely like enraptured, entangled in this love. It's time to recognize that it's done. It's time to recognize that it's done, and that's okay. Because in recognizing that it's finished, we can begin the grieving process. And moving through the grieving process brings us to the other side where we are ready to receive romantic partnership again. When I look at what you are being invited to receive, I pulled the Emperor, and this is about discipline, self-discipline, supportive self-discipline. For folks who come from like Catholicism or Christianity, we can have weird feelings about authority and spiritual discipline, because in those spaces, it's one size fits all. And if it doesn't work for you, there's something wrong with you. You're broken. But in ancestrally aligned practices, spiritual discipline is what supports you now. And it evolves and grows with you through the different seasons of your life. And so you're being very much invited to figure out like what disciplines are supportive to you in this season. Tending to your altar, talking to your spirits, communing with nature, communing with the environment, giving into your community, taking care of yourself, being your own daddy. Those are the things that you're being invited into right now. When I look at the advice you have, it's the Fool. I told you this is all majors. A royal flush. We just rewatched The Parent Trap. The Fool is inviting you to experiment. Be silly, be playful. I think that sometimes we feel like spiritual discipline has to be solemn. But I think spiritual discipline can be fun. It can be playful. It can be childlike. Communing with our spirits doesn't have to look one way. It can be drawing, painting, riding a bicycle, whatever it is, something that we do with consistency, because it not only gives unto our spirits, but also supports us. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Devil, which I always like when cards are kind of mirroring one another. But the Devil invites us to explore the shadows, to discover what living deliciously feels like for us, to unearth some of those things that maybe we feel shame around, that we need to hide from ourselves, hide from others, and figure out like where's the fruit in that? Where is the blessing in these things that we hide in the shadows? As I mentioned earlier, the Devil doesn't tell us when enough is enough. We have to be in charge of our own moderation. And I'm almost wondering if moderation is a key word here. Moderation in your relationship to certain things that have offered you support up to this point, but perhaps aren't really helpful anymore. Something to consider. Who's next? We're getting there. We're getting through it. Okay. Megan Jonas. My relationship of nearly 3 years seems to be crumbling before my eyes, despite how hard I try to cling on. Any advice on next steps and gaining clarity on listening to my heart and nurturing my spirit would be so appreciated. Okay. These are kind of two different questions. So let's focus on next steps in the relationship. They want me to focus on gaining clarity around the relationship. Okay. Cut the deck. Is this important, or do I put it back? Leave it there. So the card that flew out of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune, which tells me that though it feels like it's crumbling right now, things could kind of go either way, believe it or not. There's potential for things reconciling, and there's also potential for moving forward. And this potential is very neutral. These options are very neutral. One is not better than the other. It's just the reality that there is no clear set destiny for this partnership. It's up to the people who are participating in the partnership to determine which direction this wheel turns, which I think can sometimes feel scary because we want our spirits to tell us exactly what to do. And sometimes when our spirits support us, it's them looking at us and saying, no, what are you going to do about it? Don't ask me to tell you what to do. What are you going to do about it? How do you honestly feel right now? When was the last time you tried to find out how they honestly feel right now? What effort are you putting in? The answer comes from our experience and our effort, rather than our good guides giving us some magical key. I definitely see like both of you are carrying a lot right now. There's a lot on everybody's mind. We're probably not sleeping great, especially if you're cohabitating and the relationship's getting weird. There's nothing worse than sleeping next to someone who you aren't sure likes you anymore. And I think both of you feel like you're taking on more than the other. Both of you feel like I bear the burden of this partnership. You're not doing enough. I'm also seeing this 7 of Pentacles here, which is like, okay, well, what can we trim away? how much effort do we put into this before we decide enough's enough? And then finally, this guy. I have the Devil. And TBH, this isn't like my delicious Devil that I usually pull from him. I usually get, you know, like, explore your darkness, explore your shadows. There's something good in there that you need to be brave enough to find. No, I'm getting like somebody's hiding something. Somebody's not being honest. And until everybody is honest about what's really going on, we can't make any decisions. So I encourage you to ask your good spirits for the capacity and clarity to have these conversations where everyone can put everything on the table so that we can make informed decisions together, rather than letting it all just like implode. Because it's a lot easier to either heal together or untangle ourselves from one another when we're all honest, rather than continuing to push things down under the surface and then one day it's just mess. Okay? Who's next? My lip liner's being crazy right now. I can't go on without fixing it. Now we can continue. Okay, Lily. I had no interest in partners, leading to a sacred celibate sexy vibe since a sacred celibate sexy. Put that on a t-shirt. I've had no interest in partners, leading to a sacred celibate sexy vibe since a really deep clarifying heartbreak 1.5 years ago. What, when, how does partnership look in the future? When am I going to want it again? And who's it going to be? When am I going to want it? Ooh, I'm getting a lot of information. Do I need the cards? You might as well pull them. Okay. Should I put this back? Set it down? Cut it back. Next spring. It's so rare that I get such, I mean, not ultra rare. I don't always get times because so many things are dependent on the choices that we make. Like, it's our choices that determine time frame, if that makes sense. It's spring for you. Keep leaning into, like, exploring your personal delicious darkness for sure. I have the Devil here, but in the fun way. It does feel like come spring, you're gonna be a little bit like, whoa, like not only am I like open to romantic connection, but I have options. I can make choices. And I think the important message here is like, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket right away, you know? You can like be communicative and honest about the people, you know, to the people you're interested in, like, hey, I'm still seeing other people. I was in a really, you know, difficult relationship at one point. I'm in a new season of my life. I want to make sure I really get to know someone before I'm committed to them. Be honest, be clear, be communicative, so that you're not like John Tucker. John Tucker must die. But there's no reason for you to go all in and fully commit to the first person that like gets you excited, because there might be someone else who makes you more excited, or you might find the one that makes you the most excited is actually really fucking annoying, and good thing you took your time getting to know them and gave that other person an opportunity too. Okay, so explore the options. be open to socializing outside of your current circle, whether it's in real life or, I don't know, try the apps. I often associate the Seven of Cups with dating apps, lol. And then whatever it may come, don't forget all that you've learned. Don't allow the spark. I hate saying don't because it feels like these are orders. It's not orders. Your spirits encourage you to not forget who it is that you've become, what it is that's important to you, what your boundaries and expectations are and needs are for the potential of a partnership, if that makes sense. You don't have to become a different person to please someone. Be the person you are, and someone who gets it will get it, and if they don't, cool, nice to meet you. Next. Charlotte. I love and appreciate you too. I was just talking about Charlotte and the lots of little love stories. Okay. Tender Mischief. That's such a good screen name. I would love to know the name of a guide or good spirits who love and guide me. If this isn't the reading for that question, I can ask a different one. We're just doing love and relationship readings today. If you don't have a love and relationship question, that's okay. Comment on your payment in Venmo and I can send it back to you, okay? But if you do have a love and relationship question, feel free to drop it. Katie. Okay, here we go. Katie. Beautiful Katie. You're the only good girl that I adore. And when the moon shines over the cowshed, I'll be waiting at the kitchen door. My grandma used to sing that to me a lot. Okay, we're going to do a general love reading for you, Kate. Wheels in the sky keep on turning. Don't know where I'll be tomorrow. Okay, Katie. We're pulling a general spread for romance for you at this time. And when it comes to what you're being invited to release, I have the Ten of Swords. Sometimes it's hard to accept an ending. Sometimes we are just holding on to the idea that maybe it's not over. Like maybe they could come back. Or maybe what the relationship that we're currently in once was could come back. Maybe things can be the way they were when things first started, when they were really good. And your good guides are inviting you to accept the end for what it is. When I look at what they're calling you to receive, it's the Five of Cups. With the acceptance of an ending, we enter into grieving. And grief, though sometimes frustrating, is a sign of healing. It's an important step in the healing process, a necessary one, essential. So cry about it, be mad, be frustrated, be confused, but allow yourself the opportunity to grieve so that you can move on. And then finally, the advice that I have is the Seven of Pentacles, which is a reminder that something beautiful did grow here. And even if things haven't turned out the way you expected, even if things are coming to an end sooner than you expected, the time was well spent. What you've learned about yourself and others was well worth it. And that is wisdom that you will carry with you into whatever is next. Thank you, Katie. Okay. Zakia, we're almost there. We're doing great. Got out of a long-term relationship and I have this strong desire to be out and mingle. Yeah, you dreamt of a meet cute. The breakup wasn't super long ago and I feel very okay about it, but I'm wondering if it's even the right time to have such a desire. Any advice? First of all, you're not in a relationship anymore. You are allowed to have desires and want to feel desired. You are not under contract to have a certain grieving period that's respectable before you change out of your mourning clothes and move on to whatever is next. But let's look at what the cards have to say. Cut the deck. Yeah, you should go. You should go out and mingle. You should definitely go out and start mingling. Like, I am seeing somebody who, like, you bring this very, I don't know, almost like Aquarian energy. Like, you're interesting and creative and like a little bit mysterious and enchanting, but beneath that is like someone who's just like kind of funny and sweet and tender and silly. And I see somebody who's like a little bit more serious, who it's giving like rom-com. The vibe that I'm getting is it's very rom-com. And I almost like you meet within the context of a fight, but it's not like you two are arguing with each other. Maybe you go to like, I don't know, sport. Like you're going to watch a match of sport, boxing, something. You're somewhere where it's like playing in the background. Or you're walking by somewhere that it's playing in the background. I do feel like there's, interestingly, some sort of like sport match about it. Maybe you're going to a game, a basketball game. What season is it? It's baseball right now. Maybe you go to a baseball game. But there's definitely this like energy of like competition that's in the air, but it's not you two competing with each other. It's like you meet within the circumstance of that. Have fun. You deserve it. Hi, Jane. Okay. Communist Beyonce wants a general love reading. Cut the deck. Okay. What song is that? You dropped on me. By the Gap Band. Remember that? You were the girl that changed my world. You were the girl for me. You lit the fuse. I stand accused. You were the bomb. Oh, this is exciting. You dropped a bomb on me. Not like it all exploded. It was like, you made me excited. Oh, this is kind of like meet cute energy. When I see what you're being invited to release, I pulled the 3 of Cups, and TBH, it kind of feels like you've got new friends coming. I don't know if it's the result of a spiritual awakening that is leading to this. Often when we are in the midst of spiritual awakening, we find that the people we've been in community with don't really match up with who we are and who we're becoming. I'm also feeling a release of like partying. And I mean, you know, we all go through seasons of fun. Like I said, we've been listening to a lot of Rent right now. Let's see. Jane, we're not doing any more today because I gotta go soon, but I'll post. I'm gonna start doing this more often. I definitely feel like the people that you surround yourself with no longer match up with the person you know you are and that you're becoming. And while that can feel a little bit lonely at first, it's honestly so rewarding. It's a little scary and lonely at first, but it's in those relationships moving to the wayside that we find ourselves in community with people who get us, who are supportive of our growth, who are excited by our successes rather than in competition or resentment with the person we're becoming, who encourage each other and keep each other accountable. And that's where I feel you moving into. When I look at what you're being called to receive, it's the Page of Pentacles. And that honestly makes sense with what I'm getting about releasing relationships that aren't really working anymore, and also just like releasing okay, I am not here to judge. I will say that your guides are encouraging you to be conscious around moderation and how sometimes moderation can be more difficult around certain people, is the vibe that I'm getting. When I look at what you're receiving, what you're stepping into, like, this is recognizing that there's a legacy that I want to leave. When I am long gone, I want to know what it is that I left behind for the people who come after me, for the generations to come. I want to know that what I'm doing in this lifetime has an impact on the future. And I think sometimes we can get caught up and we're like, oh, it needs to be a big change, it needs to be a big impact. But no, like, how can we be of service to our communities? How can we be of service to our families, chosen or of origin? How can we be of service to the organizations that we care for, the causes that we care for, in as big of a way as we're able to? We don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. And how does that, how can we do that? How can we find a way to contribute to the communities, the organizations, the people who matter to us, the causes who matter to us? And inviting us to see that, like, that's the point of this life, is yes, enjoying the present, but also remembering that there are people who come after us, and recognizing that there are ways, big or small, that we are able to make things a little bit easier, a little bit better for the future generations. And it does feel like in the process of this work, like, that's when you find that your romantic life feels more aligned with who you are becoming. I also see the Queen of Pentacles here along with the Queen of Wands, and this is a good reminder that like we're taking things slow, we're prioritizing sustainability over virality. We are prioritizing our passions over our frustrations. If it doesn't feel good, it's time to release it. So yeah, that's what's coming up for you. And while it doesn't seem directly related to romance, sometimes it's other stuff that has to take priority in order for us to be in a position where we are open to aligned romantic connection. And that's definitely the vibe that I'm getting right here. Also red roses. I keep seeing red roses, red roses, red roses. Okay, who's next? For Chelsea Tay Hicks. Anything I need to change up? I heard the spirit say, you don't need to do anything. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to change is what I keep hearing. All majors. I have Justice and the World. What this is saying is I heard very clearly, trust in what you've been doing, and things will find their way. I don't know that any major changes are needed. Sometimes we need to stick with something for a while before we see the results. So I'm not sensing any big changes needed. On the bottom of the deck, I do see the King of Cups, which is a nice reminder to how do you want me to say that? Allowing yourself to be vulnerable with those you care to keep in your life. Not holding back on what it is you are feeling, especially if what you're feeling is love. Like, I feel like we don't tell the people in our lives we love them enough, whether it's romantic love, friendship love, familial love, whatever. Like, say it as often as possible. Tell your friends you love them. Tomorrow's never promised, so don't miss the opportunity to tell the people you care about just how much you care about them when it presents itself in front of you. Okay, who's next? Seasons of love. Soledad, I'm curious to know what the future of my love life looks like. Okay, I think I'm on my last two questions. Wow. 12, 1, 2, 3. Almost 4 hours. Good to know for future. Shuffle again. Okay. Yeah, okay. For you, Soledad, kind of like Sam, you're being invited to consider romantic partnership beyond the current boundaries that you've set for yourself, beyond the current binaries that you've set for yourself. whether it's expectations of what a partner should look like, act like, sound like, or it's expectations around where, like, geographically on Earth they might live. What's all this, like, long distance stuff? You're being invited to consider the potential and the magic that exists beyond the limits that you've set for yourself when it comes to romantic connection and partnership. I see a lot of, like, all three of these cards are about travel. This isn't like hasty, like getting up and leaving in the night, like packing up your shit and going. This is you taking time to, like, make some plans, to get excited, to get it on the calendar, and see what else is out there in the world, because it feels like the limits of your current environment just aren't doing it for you anymore. And if you're in a relationship right now, it's inviting your partner to be a part of that with you. And if they're not into it, then... And if you aren't partnered right now, then it's exciting because it's your opportunity to connect with new people in different places. And I think a really fun thing about going to a new environment is that you get to, like, reinvent yourself. It's kind of like when you leave middle school and go to high school, especially if you go to high school in a new neighborhood. You get to decide what you're going to wear on the first day of school, how you're going to introduce yourself to people, what you want to be called by people, how you want to be perceived by these new people in this new environment. And that's the vibe that I'm getting for you when it comes to, like, finding exciting and aligned romantic connections. On the bottom of the deck, we have the world. Like, the world is your oyster, and you are being called to explore it. Again, don't be hasty in making your plans. Take your time, check your banking app, make good choices, but find a way to get out there, even if it's just like a small day trip. The more that you break out beyond your physical environment, the more that you find the treasures that lie beyond the perceived limitations that you have around romance and love. Okay, let's see. Okay, last one. General love reading for tender mischief. And then I'm gonna eat some leftover pasta. That's it, cut the deck. Okay. I think I might do this on YouTube next time. I bought a webcam. I have a lavalier microphone. Okay, when I look at what you're being called to release, I have the Knight of Pentacles. And what this is telling me is that you have some ideas about yourself that you've gained from past relationships, be it romantic or otherwise. There are some things that you've come to believe as truths about yourself that really aren't so true in not only this current season of your life, but I don't know that they've ever been true. I think that sometimes when we hear something enough, we can kind of assume that it's a part of our identity. Like, oh, well, this person said it enough times, so it must be true. But it certainly seems like you are in a season of recognizing that there are certain things that you've come to accept about who you are that maybe have never been true. And you're ready to release the hold that those parts of your identity have had on you. When I look at what you're being called to receive, I pulled the 10 of Wands, and there's so much happening. There's so many things that are exciting right now. There's so many things that are inspiring you right now. And I think that when we have a lot of inspiration coming in, it can be really overwhelming because we're like, but I want to do it all right now and I want it all to be done. And I want it to be done well and perfect. As these different ideas start flowing in, write them down, set them down, and pick them up one at a time and explore them as time allows you, as your capacity allows you to. It definitely feels like these inspirations are in relationship to, are coming in relation. These inspirations are connected to your relationship to passion and pleasure. You are realizing things about yourself. Not only are you releasing things that you're realizing aren't true, but you're starting to see like, maybe I'm into this. Maybe I'm into that. Maybe I want to try that to know whether or not I'm into it. And this really is an opportunity for some fun, like, play, whether it's with yourself or others consensually. It's up to you. You do what feels good and right for you. But this certainly is a season for exploration because I pulled the Page of Pentacles. I think this is very nice that the advice is the Page of Pentacles, especially since the message coming through here is that we're releasing all of these assumed identities that others have projected onto us and we've accepted over the years. Now we have this opportunity for a fresh start and saying like, like this is who I really am. This is what I'm really, this is the color I like to wear. Why was I wearing that all of the time? It doesn't even feel good on me. This is a good time to start playing around with your costume, with your hair, with the way you present yourself outwardly, so that you can feel more like you. And the more authentic you feel in your body, your temple, and humans love to decorate temples, the more you invite in connections that are aligned for you because you're showing the world who you really are rather than who the world has expected you to be. And that sounds fun to me. That sounds very fun. So enjoy yourself. I also feel like you have a gift for writing and your spirits want you to spend some time exploring that more. All right. That's everyone. We did it. We did it. Hooray. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I sign off, I'm going to do a quick prayer to close out our circle. If you feel so inclined, close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths with me. On behalf of myself, Caitlin, and my good spirits, we thank each and every one of you and your good spirits for being in attendance here today. Good spirits, we thank you for your blessings, your protection, your wisdom, now and always. We thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this time together. And we thank all of the versions of ourselves who gathered here to receive. It is in love that we received each and every one of you and your spirits in this circle. And it is in love that we return your energy and your spirits to you now. All right, friends, drink lots of water, eat some late lunch, and I'll see you next time.